Greetings, this is Ron on the Encyclopedia team. It is with great pleasure we have Professor Rosario Lo Franco joining us for this interview. Thank you very much for joining us, Professor Lo Franco.
Thank you, Ron. It's my pleasure.
So, Professor Lo Franco, before we begin, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, of course, with pleasure. So, I'm a quantum physicist and professor of Physics 1 and Physics 2 at the Dipartimento di Engineering of the University of Palermo in Italy, of course. I lead the Quantum Things Group, this is the name of my group here, with a research focused on the characterization of quantum correlations in open quantum systems. We are especially interested in the exploitation and protection of quantum resources for quantum information against the detrimental effects of environmental noise. When I talk about quantum resources, you can think of peculiar features such as quantum correlations, entanglement, and coherence, which allow the realization of quantum technologies. We collaborate with other theoretical and experimental groups, both in Italy and abroad, with special interest in verifying in the lab the predictions of our studies, of course. And I can say that I am also an editor-in-chief of the section Quantum Information of the journal Entropy, and also an editor for the journals Scientific Reports and Applied Sciences. In the spare time, I play piano in public concerts and have a band with academic colleagues. The name of the band is the Gem Academy. And by this band, we propose events with live music and research outreach. So I also enjoy the music together with science. This is one of my best hobbies in my life.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and I would like to tune in and listen to the music that you play. So, our second
Yeah.
question would be, please tell us a little bit more background on your research subject, quantum correlations.
Yes, of course. So to explain what quantum correlations are, I may start from the phenomenon of quantum coherence, which is the capacity of a quantum system, such a photon or an electron or an atom, of simultaneously being in different possible states. More strangely, this means that a single quantum system may interfere with itself, as one can observe, for instance, in the well-known double-slit experiment. When you talk about state in this context, you can think of a given polarization of a photon, an energy level of an atom, or for instance, a spin value of an electron. And the quantum coherence thus originates from the superposition principle of quantum mechanics. Then quantum correlations arise when two or more quantum subsystems are in a global state, which is a superposition of multiple states. Now, under these conditions, the states of the different subsystems can be interconnected, intertwined, correlated. The most iconic example of quantum correlations is, for sure, entanglement, whose first experimental verifications with photons have just been recognized with the Nobel Prize in Physics 2022, assigned to Aspect, Closer, and Simon. Now, when two quantum particles are entangled, their individual state is completely undetermined, while their global state, the state of the total system, behaves as a whole inseparable entity. Once the entangled state has been created, whatever we locally do to one particle affects the state of the other particle, irrespective of their distance. These weird non-local quantum correlations are experimentally confirmed by violations of Bell inequalities. I can also add that for mixed, non-pure states of a composite multi-particle system, there also exist more general non-classical correlations beyond the entanglement. For example, the so-called quantum disk. I mean that separable states may be also quantum correlated. I want to conclude like this. From the viewpoint of applications, quantum correlations can be used to run quantum information protocols like teleportation, entanglement swapping, and secret quantum key distribution from quantum cryptography, for instance. So many things you can do with these quantum correlations. I can conclude like this.
Thank you. So our next question is, what makes you want to research quantum correlations? Did you get any influence from other people?
Thank you. This is a nice question. Uh, I can tell you this. I started being curious about quantum correlations and especially the concept of entanglement since my master's degree thesis. In that case, I studied entangled state generation of photons in the context of cavity quantum electrodynamics by adjusting atom cavity interactions. The curiosity was certainly due to the twofold foundational and practical role of this kind of quantum correlations. Moreover, entanglement and quantum correlations in general are fragile when the composite system unavoidably interacts with the surrounding environment, of course. So the coherence due to system-environment coupling tends to destroy quantumness. So this behavior of being so powerful and so delicate at the same time successively led me to search for strategies to produce and protect quantum correlations from noise. This started during my PhD, also thanks to the influence of my supervisor at that time, Professor Giuseppe Compagno, who is now retired. And I can add that during our collaboration along these years, we've been able to understand how environments with memory, they are called non-Markovian environments, can be convenient in maintaining quantum correlations to a certain extent. So interestingly, these results hold for both quantum environments, made of photons or electrons, for instance, and classical environments, such as lasers with random phases, random telegraph noises, external fields. And more recently, yeah, I can also add this, we've been addressing the intriguing problem of entanglement in systems of indistinguishable particles. Now, all these topics constitute the research backbone, so the structure of the research of my group here at the Department of Engineering. And in fact, we are now developing research on preserving quantum correlations under various system environment interaction models, including systems of indistinguishable. So that's my answer in this case.
Thank you. So it makes me wonder, what is the innovative part about your research and how is your work different from previous findings?
Okay. So in this case, to answer this question, I like to mainly focus on the part linked to quantum indistinguishability. So entanglement of identical particles has been a long debated issue in the scientific community due to questions about its physical nature and practical exploitability. Why? I can tell you that these problems are basically due to the fact that while distinguishable particles are individually addressable, yes, individually controllable, identical particles, which are indistinguishable, cannot be individually addressed. So the characterization of entanglement requires new approaches with respect to the usual approaches, the usual methods adopted for distinguishable particles. Our contribution in this context has been to introduce a novel, simple approach to treat identical particles that we named no-label approach, together with an operational framework called SLOC, which stands for Spatially Localized Operations in Classical Communications. This approach has the advantage, with respect to the previous methods, to unambiguously quantify and access the utilizable entanglement, so the utilizable quantum correlations within a system of identical, indistinguishable particles. We've also shown that a degree of spatial indistinguishability can be defined as a controllable resource for quantum information tasks, such as teleportation and entanglement distribution in quantum network, and also for quantum metrology. So besides the theoretical work, we have also realized the first experiments of this kind in collaboration with the quantum photonics group led by professors Guangkan Guo and Chuangfen Li at USTC in FA, China. So I would also like to thank them for this collaboration, with this fruitful collaboration. So this is my answer.
Thank you. And it is great to hear the great progress with the team in China. So it makes me wonder, what are the challenges that you are facing currently?
Oh, yeah. Good point. I mean, the moment our main challenge is to individuate the most general conditions a composite system of many particles should fulfill to preserve and exploit its inherent quantum correlations and entanglement. We are interested in particular in both theoretical modeling and experimental vindications of the predicted findings. I mean, these are our main aims. And we are also facing the problem of quantum thermodynamics with controllable indistinguishable particles, which looks really promising. So these are our main points now.
So, will further research be needed in the field of quantum correlations? And is there a next move for this research from you?
Oh, yes. I can tell you this. Typically, the generation and characterization of quantum correlations in many particle systems remain challenging. Why? Because increasing the size of the system is problematic experimentally and also complicates the theoretical investigations. You may expect this. Moreover, the detrimental effects of noise for open quantum systems are to be harnessed and reduced satisfactorily, of course. We want to use these quantum correlations as long as possible. So we have to reduce these destructive effects of the noise. So further research is thus needed to solve these issues, possibly proposing simple yet useful techniques to generate, quantify, and use robust entanglement or more general quantum correlations. And concerning systems of indistinguishable particles, many aspects are still to be understood, and the research remains very active in the scientific community. With my group, we especially intend to extend our framework to use quantum correlations stemming from indistinguishability in multiple type systems. We also aim at proposing a new proof of principle conceptual quantum information protocols based on these resources, which can be then implemented in the lab. So this is the route.
Thank you. So, before we finish, is there any acknowledgement you would like to make?
Yeah, why not? Of course. I'd like to acknowledge it for sure my PhD thesis supervisor and friend, Professor Giuseppe Compagno, for the many fruitful and deep discussions about physics, but also about many other different stuff. I mean, it was and it has been a really nice and pleasant collaboration with him. Of course, I would also like to thank the people of my group now and all my fellow collaborators, my fellow colleagues, who make for sure and our scientific activity, our research funny and full of stimulating ideas, boosting the motivation to discover new things, to go on, to carry on our hard work. And but like this, it's really, I mean, it's really funny. It's really, I mean, it's really full of life. So we really enjoy our work at the moment. And that will be all.
It's great to hear that you are surrounded by love. So, Professor Lo Franco, we wish you and your fellow colleagues the best of luck on your future research. And thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure. See you.
Pleasure is mine.